Why do you host travelers?
Well, initially, we need the help. I mean, some of it's just practical. We need extra work. And so it's a nice way to get helpful hands for the summertime. So
Well,
that's an initial, but we live a long ways from the rest of the world. So the world kind of comes to us by doing it.
and we traveled all over the world and were hosted by people all over the world, which was really quite cool, and be welcomed into their home. So we actually got to see, we really like this visit. What did we like about that visit? What did they have?
Why were you traveling all over the world?
Well, we worked on farms. I've worked on farms all over Asia and Europe. We worked together on farms in Europe and South America. So yeah, we've traveled all over, and
Just to learn about
learn
other styles of farming.
and just people. Some was working with the Savodia Gandhian movement for village development in Sri Lanka, India. So we both have intercultural studies degrees. So yeah, it was a combination of reasons. Some was more technical, like we want to learn what it's like to farm, and that again, similar to hosting, it gave us an idea of what kind of farm we wanted to have.
What is the most memorable hosting experience you've had?
One of the most memorable summers, and it was multiple stays, was where we had 5 religions living here. And when I said, to someone in town, I said, we got 5 religions living in the farm. Oh, you got some Methodists up there. And I was like, no, religions, So we had Buddhist, Jewish, Confucius,
The
shamanism,
among girls.
and Muslim and Christian.
That was a fun summer.
And it was wonderful
Our
individuals.
kids were just little. They were Tremaine wasn't even walking.
And so it's memorable in that, this was a time when you've seen flags being burned and everyone's anti-Muslim like they are today. And our kids got to know the most peaceful woman, Muslim. And it was just a wonderful exchange and the Jewish guy was a police officer, a gay police officer from New York. So it was all just a combination. It was a wonderful summer.
Wow. How does hosting make your life different?
In so many ways. Like bringing you...
richer.
Richer.
Brings the world to us. Like
Each person brings their images and stories. And it brings people with interests of what we're doing, which makes it all the better versus random people you might meet in an urban center where you may or may not have you might have some common ground. So
sure.
So it's an enriching experience, and frankly, some of the things like we had a lot of help from our neighbors early on. The childcare when one of them was when we were both sick, they just grabbed the kids, stuff like that, and we were like, we're never going to repay you, and they're like, you don't have to, you can pass it on to the next. And so we've done something for certain people. And they're like, what we can't do anything for you. Well, we said we already got that from them. And now we're passing it on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that continuum.
What religion do you practice, if any, and does it have any effect on your hosting?
We are Quaker.
Right. And we've been really connected with the Quakers International.
Because we're pretty isolated, so there's a strong.
So I did the youth
and stuff,
national youth program.
Once a year, in midsummer, there's a gathering, kind of people come together.
So around the country, 130 high schoolers manage and get.
But how it affects our decision, probably because with the Quaker, it's a Protestant type religion, but it's very focused on living out your inside and outside should match. Your inner life and your outer life should
not be in conflict.
Not be in, that they should match. So if you believe in truth and honesty and kindness and sharing and nonviolence, that's how you should live too. And so in our sense, it means opening up to, and we have so much, we feel like we have so much. Some people may think otherwise, but, I can remember actually when we first bought this place, it was like, how could we possibly go wrong with this? It's like, it just seemed like too much for just us. And so it's a sharing kind of thing, and that I would say comes from a spiritual base. That we have more than enough. We'll share.
And being that Quaker religion is very open and tolerant, since it's the light of God is in everyone.
That's sort of the core.
Having multiple religions come here is all better.
But there's something to learn from everybody. It's kind of a core part of Quakerism. No one of us has the answer, or the truth, or whatever.
I wanted to ask about homeschooling you brought up.
Mm-hmm.
What was the motivation behind that?
It just seems like I don't think we considered anything else. I've thought about that since. We didn't have it wasn't for strong religious principles, which is the majority of homeschoolers.
Well, in 1988, when we taught at Wolf Ridge, you have 150 different schools that come, and we noticed as we taught the kids that groups of kids had different kind of expectations, excitement or withdrawal, different culture kind of with the groups. And then we noticed the leadership of the groups, and they were the same. If they were unorganized as a kid, the leadership was unorganized. And we thought, oh my gosh, this whole cultural, kind of space they've created for these kids. And so we chose our family life, but then our slogan was "The world is our classroom." So we would study a subject all fall, and then we'd go to that country. So we'd make like $18,000 a year, and we'd live off 12, and then we'd spend that $6,000 to travel.
Yeah.
So we went all over the world for a month of time. Mm-hmm. So that was a great opportunity, and I think it was we were protective of our kids as well.
We were.
We didn't want,
but not in the same way as protecting them
from the world.
The world. I don't know if we really. I can't really articulate what it was.
Well, I think we also just wanted them to experience everything, but at what age?
Yeah.
Does a 5-year-old need to see 2,000 murders on TV? By 5. So how we incremented them into
I think
the world.
something to me too was that you have these kids, and so quickly you just turn them over to somebody else, and they spend most of their day with somebody else. And it's like, why don't I have these kids to then turn them over at age 4 or 5 to whatever, somebody else to raise? Basically, they come home for a few hours in the evening when they're at their worst. They're tired or whatever. So I don't know. It was that I wanted to be more a part of their growing up. You should ask Kobe what he thinks about it.
Yeah.
I think they may have different things to say. We thought it was great.
Well,
by the time they were teenagers, they were ready for different adults in their lives, and we knew that.
We saw that.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, let's do it different.
So.
But I will say, someone asked Colby when he was 10, 11, so why do your parents homeschool you? And he says, because they like me around.
Which was true. It was really fun to have.
And so just think of how many kids the parents are like, go, get out of our life. But they were wanted and needed on the farm. Mm. And so that's something I see lacking in kids now. They don't know how to work. They don't feel needed. They don't have a purpose. Mm-hmm. And how to, with this new world, without kind of systemic work or responsibilities or chores, how do they get self-identity?
Well, frankly, the school year did not fit well with our actual life. So some of it was just we wanted to be the time we had the most of the time that we had to spend with the kids was in the winter, when they would have been completely on the school schedule. And the way it was, because we're busiest in the summer, that would have been the least time we'd have to give to our kids, to give them that sort of family time.
What are your thoughts on minimalism?
One of the tenets of Quakerism is simplicity, and that would be sort of the correlating idea, is that it refers to also simplicity in your life, which we don't follow very well. Is say no, so that you don't get over busy like we have been. So we're trying
I said no recently.
Yeah. But the other thing is to live a simple life physically, to not overuse resources, to not have more than you need, to share what you have.
And one of the challenges we come with that is that to live elemental, to have our own food, grow our own wine, whatever it is, takes all this stuff.
Yeah, it's really hard to not have stuff.
And we need a well, and it needs to be drilled. And people come to us and they'll say, I love the simple life. This is great. We're like, how you want simple life? Go back to the city, get an apartment, sleep on the floor, and walk to work. That would be simple, This is an elemental life where we're trying to provide for our elements, our food, our water, our shelter. And that's why we wanted to share it, because we felt like we were taking too many resources. We
For
drilled
just
a well,
us.
but the well could do 4 families. So we tried to set up an intentional community for several years to share the wealth